video, I'm going to take you for a little tour around the admin center and some common things that administrative type roles need to review. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm inside of Business Central. Here I've got my admin center. So something important to note about this, only global admins will see this option, which is important because you don't want every single user being able to access this environment. So if you have access, you can navigate to the admin center, and that's going to bring you to a dashboard that looks similar to this. So this shows you all the environments that you have available to you. So with your license, you have 1 production and 3 sandboxes that are available for you. So what you can do is drill into any of those environments, and there's things that you're going to be able to do within those environments. The thing we're going to do is look at updating your apps. So within the environment, you have this apps icon here. This lets you know all of the apps that you have installed from AppSource. So it's important that you've got your apps that are up to date. If there is a update that's available to you, you will see an install update. You'll be able to see the version that you're currently on and the version that's been released. You can see that for all of the apps. You could also see action required. If you see action required, what that means is that you need to update another application before you'll have that app available to be updated as well. So it has a prerequisite, or it has something that you need to be updating before. So this is only going to look at anything that's been downloaded from AppSource. So if you have tenant extensions, you won't see them here. This is normal. I typically recommend to go into your apps and make sure that they're up to date in a couple of scenarios most commonly. One would be if you've got a small bug in your environment that you think maybe a small patch has fixed. I always go in to validate, am I on the most recent version? Because if I'm noticing a bug, maybe other customers have noticed a bug. A second might be your partner tells you, hey, we've released a new version, or hey, that feature that you talked about, it's now in the latest version. Go ahead and get the latest from AppSource. The third may be that you've got your big Microsoft that's come either in, October, November-ish or April, May-ish, and you want to make sure that all of your apps are the most up to date to increase the chances that your environment's going to be updated successfully. So what you would do in that environment is you can just click to install the update. It will schedule an update, and then it will release the update when it can. If you have users that are in the environment at that time, they may get your administrator has made a change. So what you can do is you can always schedule those to be, more in the evening or something that you're going to do after hours. So again, in the environment, you would click on whatever environment it is. You can click on apps, and again, make sure that they're the most up to date. Locked sessions is another one that we get a lot. So this is your record is locked by another user error. People will often see. So again, you're going to go into your environment and you can review the open sessions on that specific environment. So some of the reasons that sessions can lock are people are trying to export a Word layout, and for whatever reason, Word is taking a long time, so people just cancel the session. Well, there's a hang up that's happened. People are creating a copy company. Again, it's a large company. It takes a long time. People just incorrectly exit the application. There's a large processing report, or maybe a custom that was introduced that locked the session. Whatever it is, but users are complaining that they can't do a function or they can't log in. So what you can do is, if you know the user that may have caused the lock, because sometimes you can place it, then you can highlight just that specific user and say cancel selected session. If you've got multiple users in the system and nobody really knows what's caused it, I typically recommend that you're going to email your users, let them know there's going to be an interruption, set a time, and then reboot the instance, at said time so that you're not disrupting people as they work. So in that case, what you would do is you would just select multiple records and then you can cancel all of the sessions. What that will do is it will drop any locks that may be there. In the event that you've killed all of the sessions and users still cannot log in, you can click on that environment and you can report a production outage. If, like I said, you canceled the sessions and people still can't get in, that will let Microsoft know that your tenant specifically has an outage. And then here through the reported outages, you would be able to see over time any outages that reported so you could see if there's a trend or just keep a history. So I can see in this environment, we've never reported that. So either we haven't had it or maybe canceling the sessions has released the lock and it's got us through the issue that we were having with the record being locked by another user. Your update window. So as mentioned, twice a year, Microsoft will do a big update to the environment and it will let you know when that update is scheduled to happen. Notification recipient, you can indicate who are the users that are going to be notified. So typically you're going to want to have, your IT group, maybe a backup, but I recommend that so that you can let people know that here's when my update's intended to happen. Your screens may look a little bit different. This is incredibly normal. You may have tenant extensions that were uninstalled, so the update could happen that need to be republished. Again, these are all normal things that do happen, but if we let the users know in advance, then the users are more comfortable. They know that it was coming, they plan for it, they know that if something's a little bit unique or different, they can go to their IT and we can look to get that extension republished, or again, maybe put some personalization back because some things had changed with that update. But if we know when it's going to happen, we can let our users know and plan for it. So in the environment here, I can see when my scheduled update is intended to happen. So I can see here, this is July 23rd between 10 p.m. and 4 p.m. Well, maybe I'm going to look at that and say, well, I'm on vacation or I'm not going to have the support that I need. So you can change when your update's intended to happen. You can do it by clicking modify here, or you can set your update window or your update date from here. Using the date picker, I can select a date that's better for me. So maybe I want to do it the week before because that's when I'll be there. It'll give me time to work with the users and update anything or train them on anything new, maybe a new feature or something that I want. So I can do that and schedule my update. It is a best practice to set your update window to be a week or two earlier in sandbox environments so that we can see if there's going to be any issues. Users can go in and do a test if they'd like. And then, a week or two later, you can set your update window for the production environment. So again, you're prepared for any changes that Microsoft may have made that may alter the way that your customizations work or just how you work with the system. So again, you can update the date or the window within the admin center. Managing environments, this is a really great feature that end users are now easily able to do. So here you've got your environments, and as I mentioned, you've got 1 production and 3 sandboxes that you're entitled to. So what you can do, let's say for example, this sandbox is, I want a new sandbox. I want it to be a more recent copy of production so that I can test ISVs. I can test a new customization with more up-to-date data. You can click on any of your environments. You could go ahead and indicate delete. The system's going to ask you to type in the name of that sandbox environment just to make sure that you guys will kind of have a chance to test and make sure that you really do want to delete it. But once you click sandbox in here and type whatever the name is and click delete, that environment will then be gone, opening up the ability to be able to create a new one that's a more recent copy. You can also rename sandboxes. So again, maybe I look at the word sandbox and I have no idea why this was created. So I want to call it InsightWorks Sandbox or Netronic Sandbox or some other ISV that I really want to test out and play with. You can also copy. So if I had opened up one of my sandbox environments, I could click here on production or any environment really that I want, and I can click here to say copy. Once I do that, I would indicate whether it's going to be a production or a sandbox. Like 100% of the time, it's going to be a sandbox here that you can create. In this case, I'm being told that I can't create it because I already have 3. So again, that would lead me to just do what I showed you in the previous step and delete it. But if you have the room, you can then indicate what you want that sandbox to be called. So maybe I want the invoice custom that I had just created. I want to give that, a name just so that I understand what that sandbox was created for. And then I can say copy. Once I do that, and I look at my list of environments here, I would then see that custom invoice sandbox created. And then I can click on my environments and I could send the exact URL to the users, which sometimes I find that really helpful to make sure that if I'm testing an ISV or a custom, then you would have the ability to be able to make sure they're in the right spot a little bit easier. As you can see, there's a ton of great things that you can do in the Admin Center just being a really strong IT or technical user. So if you have any questions, please contact us. This video was just meant to highlight some of the most common features, but again, lots to do there. So reach out to us if you have any questions at all.